This is the Worx Bladerunner X2, and it's got to be the weirdest saw I've ever seen, but it might just be the perfect table saw alternative for your shop. Today we're going to review the Blade Runner and talk about all of the many features and quirks of this very bizarre saw. The Worx Bladerunner X2, which might also be sold under the Rockwell brand depending on what market you're in, is essentially an upside down jigsaw disguised as the smallest table saw you've ever seen. For context, it's about 2 times smaller and about 3 times lighter than your typical job site table saw, which makes storage a breeze even in my closet sized shop. Pricing fluctuates, but generally it's around $140 or so, which also makes it about 2 times cheaper than the cheapest job site table saw that I'd probably be comfortable buying. So this thing is truly in a class of its own. But let's talk real quick about Worx as a brand, because they're no strangers to paving their own path. They originally made a name for themselves in the cordless outdoor lawn equipment space. You might even remember their infomercials in the mid-2010s or so. They were one of the original brands to sell this cordless electric outdoor power equipment during a time when a lot of people couldn't even imagine giving up their gas-powered leaf blowers and string trimmers. And they were pretty successful at this marketing strategy. Presumably their target audience was watching daytime TV, probably ignoring their lawn care responsibilities. And in the time since, they've taken some other big swings, like huge swings. In 2015, they introduced the Landroid, which is an AI-powered autonomous lawnmower. You heard that right, an AI-powered autonomous lawnmower in 2015, 9 months before OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, was even founded. That's crazy to think about. I even found this launch video on their YouTube channel that's pretty cool, and it has some really retro video quality. Simpler times. Since then, some of the experiments that they've thrown against the wall include a combination leaf blower, vacuum, and mulcher, as well as getting into the cordless handheld power tool game with the very wonky looking flip drill. Their parent company is also responsible for bringing the recent cat power tool line to the market, which, despite sounding like something a toddler would wish up after he grows out of his toy excavator set, they've actually been getting pretty great reviews. But I digress. The point I'm trying to make is Worx is a weird and innovative company in the power tool space. So it shouldn't be any surprise that they conjured this thing up. And as I mentioned earlier, it's basically an upside down jigsaw, and it even takes regular T-shank jigsaw blades, but that's where the jigsawness of it ends. And much like a bandsaw, it actually has rollers on either side of the blade to help with deflection. We'll see how that plays out in reality in just a little bit. But it also has a platform just like a regular table saw. It even has a rip fence, which actually brings me to my first negative of the Blade Runner, and that is that rip fence. It's great that they have it, and I love the idea of it, but this is the cheapest rip fence you've ever seen. It's definitely not rack and pinion, not even close. And the plastic knobs that you have to use to adjust it are just flimsy. The whole thing doesn't feel very tight. And because it's not rack and pinion, it's kind of hard to set things up parallel. But at least on the positive side, the measurements on the table itself are actually pretty accurate. So you can kind of rely on that 6-inch mark actually being 6 inches. So to put it simply, this thing is actually pretty accurate once it's set up. It's just that that setup process is pretty tedious and you're gonna need a lot of patience with it. And it brings us to another limitation of the design, which is the fact that the jigsaw blade is so much smaller than a traditional table saw blade, means that it's really hard to check for parallel between the fence and the blade, which is of course compounded by the fact that this is not a rack and pinion fence. You can check parallel pretty easily with the front side of the fence and the blade, but once you get to the back side, there's simply no blade to reference. You'll have to kind of reference it with the lines in the table, which is possible. It's just not the most intuitive. And again, it's just a little bit tedious. Not my favorite. And the reason it's important to even check parallel with this thing or with a regular table saw is to limit the opportunities for your wood to bind as you push it through, which can cause kickback and vibration and all sorts of things. And of course, it also helps with overall accuracy of your cuts. Now, to be clear, this is not a sponsored video. I've never even spoken with Worx, the company. In fact, this was a Christmas gift, so I have zero stake in the game. And I'm just going to give you my honest opinion about it. And my first piece of advice for an X3 Blade Runner would definitely be fixing that fence. I would gladly spend more money on this thing if it had even a simple, cheap-ish rack and pinion system, because that would just help the accuracy and the ease of use so much. And I think that that's the single biggest upgrade this thing could make when it comes to the design. Now, I'll just finish up my critiques of the design talking about the blade changes, because they're both incredibly simple and incredibly annoying. Simple because all it takes to change the blade is pushing a button and pulling, and the thing literally pops out. But they're also really annoying because if you don't use the included blade holder, it's going to give you a pretty gnarly jump scare. And you want to make sure you use that holder and that you push it pretty firmly, because if you don't, there's a big chance that that blade is not going to lock in straight. And that's a huge issue, obviously, for accuracy and for safety. Good luck getting much cutting done with the flat side of a jigsaw blade. It's not going to happen. Now, with a few positive-ish notes, I mean, it comes with a miter gauge that slides right into the table, which I think is pretty cool, and it's a nice addition. The problem is I didn't find it to be that accurate. It was like a degree or two off from my testing, even with thinner materials. So I don't know if I would really rely on it too much. I would definitely reference it against the square. But for occasional angle cuts on like trim work or something like that, you can definitely get the job done. Again, it's just going to be a little bit tedious to get there if you care about accuracy, which when you're doing 45 degrees, you probably do care about accuracy. So even though I definitely have some issues with the design and I think that the setup could definitely be a lot easier, I think overall there's a lot of good ideas here. And really what matters most is using the thing and seeing if it can actually cut through pieces that you might be working with. I immediately chucked the stock blades in favor of the spider set, which is much higher quality, and the thicker blades are going to really help with deflection. I want to give this thing a fair shot if I'm going to test it. At only 5.5 amps, I was kind of worried that it would get bogged down with some woods, and we'll see if that's the case in just a second. And I know I'm going to hear it in the comments because I declared us in our last few videos a pro cordless YouTube channel. Unfortunately, this thing is only available corded, and this thing was just so weird and unique. It caught my eye and I couldn't pass up the chance to test it. And quite frankly, at 5.5 amps, I think it needs all of the consistent power it can get. So for our first test, I fed it some 1/8 of an inch hardboard just to kind of warm things up and see what we were dealing with here. And luckily, it ripped through with ease. It was even a lot faster and quieter than I thought it would be. It didn't set off my Yorkie, which is a miracle. He gets set off by any power tool and makes it sound like we're in World War III. And it worked pretty quick. I mean, maybe as quick as my circular saw would have been through it. It's hard to say, but it's around that ballpark. So pretty good on speed and noise. So great. We passed test 1. We know this thing isn't actually a toy. So we passed round 1, and now we're going to move into some hardier materials that you might use a little bit more often, starting with a 1/4 inch sheet of MDF. Now, MDF is a pretty stable material. You're not going to run into knots or anything. So as long as we can start off strong, I'm pretty confident we can get through this board. And once again, it cut pretty efficiently. Again, pretty quickly, pretty quietly. I was happy with the result. And quite frankly, it's moving through this test a lot easier than I kind of expected, given how I felt about the design and just getting hands-on with the thing. So we're off to a pretty good start. We might even be putting your saw stop to shame at this point. Probably not, we'll see. And not that anybody in the history of woodworking has ever cared about the squareness of your 1/4 inch MDF sheet. I'll show you anyway that yes, we did get a nice square cut from this thing on the MDF. So points there. All right, moving on to a classic 3/4 inch plywood. This is going to be a lot more representative of actual woodworking projects, above and beyond just DIY or trim work or things like that. And things started out looking pretty good, but they went south very quickly. We got about halfway through the sheet and it just came to a screeching halt. I could not push this board through. I gave it little nudges as much as I was comfortable giving. I'm definitely more comfortable kind of muscling this thing through much more than I would be with a table saw, but I didn't want to push it. It started vibrating pretty violently and I was worried it was going to slide off the table, so I cut the power. Now on closer inspection, and you could probably see this in the video, it ran up against the back of the metal piece that holds the neck, but I assure you from my perspective, the kerf was pretty generous and I don't think that was really what was causing this. There was plenty of space for it to pass through and the rest of the cut was pretty straight, so I do not think that this is what caused the issue. I'm not really sure what caused the issue because it didn't look like there were any visible knots and there weren't any nails or metal pieces in the way at all, so we just got a little bound up at this point. So I took it out, I rotated it 90 degrees, and we tried it against the grain, and this time, with again a little bit of elbow grease, we were able to actually get the board all the way through. So it was not pretty, but I would say that this round was a light pass for the Worx Bladerunner. Not the most confidence-inspiring performance, but nonetheless, we moved on to our next challenge, 3/4 inch oak. Now, oak is a classic hardwood, and this is really gonna put the muscle of this thing to the test. Now, I wanted to try and give it as much of an advantage as possible, given what we just saw with the plywood, so I upgraded the blade again. Spider has these really cool skeleton blades that are supposed to disperse heat a little bit better, but what I really like about them is they're just a little bit thicker and a little bit wider, which hopefully helps again with deflection and just powering through this pretty dense piece of wood. And pretty quickly we found out that that blade did not help very much. We didn't get very far into the oak and then the thing started vibrating like crazy. It scared the crap out of me. It was not fun. I really didn't want to push my luck on this one considering how much pushing I was doing with the plywood, so I just have to call this one a failure. It didn't even feel like there was a chance against this oak board. So if you're hoping to buy this thing to cut through a lot of hardwoods, I would say that so far it's not looking good. But if we're already out of the race this early, why not just take a joyride? I have this 2-inch plank of oak that I really just want to see what would happen on this thing. So we pushed it through, and to nobody's surprise, it bogged down even faster. It didn't stand a chance. I mean, it barely got a blade width into the wood before just completely giving up. So I don't know if it's the 5.5 amps holding it back. I don't know if it's just the fact that it's a jigsaw design, so the blade's going up and down instead of rotating into the piece of wood. Either way, this thing is not meant to handle these kinds of woods and these challenging materials, but I had to see for myself, and I gotta say I'm a little bit disappointed. I was really hoping for better from this thing. So where does that leave us with the Bladerunner? Is this thing going to replace your table saw or even your job site saw anytime soon? No, it's not. At least not if you're working on moderately sized woodworking projects or using any hardwoods at all. I want to say that you could have this thing around to break down small boards in a pinch, but honestly, I would feel a lot safer and probably get a better result just using my circular saw, even if I don't have a table saw. And speaking of which, I'll actually be ranking circular saw straight edge jigs in an upcoming video, so make sure you're subscribed for that. But if you're doing trim work or very light woodworking projects, if you're building wooden models, things along those lines, this might be a viable option for you, and I feel much safer handling smaller pieces in something like this than a table saw. Although I've been wanting to check out that Dremel Blueprint suitcase looking miter saw. That I feel like might be a better solution than this, and that's also a pretty unique tool. So let me know in the comments if you want me to check that out or if you even know what I'm talking about. But I would say it would work for those kinds of projects, but overall, I don't know that I can really recommend this thing to most people for most projects. So as far as replacing your table saw goes, I'm gonna say this is a no, and I'm gonna give this thing an overall rating of 2 stars out of 5. I think it's a really cool concept, and for really light work, it can get the job done. I like how quiet and efficient it is, and I kind of just think it's pretty cool, but this should not be anybody's primary saw. Now, you might be thinking, well, it's an upside down jigsaw, so can it replace my jigsaw? And the answer to that is also no, not really. Because it's tied to a tabletop platform, you're gonna lose one of the most important benefits of a jigsaw, which is that maneuverability that you get. So I wouldn't even really recommend it in most cases for replacing all the things that a jigsaw could do for you. So unfortunately, as much as I fell in love with the promise of the Worx Bladerunner, I'm not gonna be recommending this anytime soon, but I love that Worx took a flyer on this thing, and I'll definitely be keeping an eye out for the Bladerunner X2 if that ever comes to fruition. And I'll always be keeping tabs on Worx to see what comes out of their mad scientist tool lab next. So those are my thoughts, but I'm just a guy playing with tools in his backyard, so I want to know what you guys think. Is this a tool that you would consider for certain projects? What do you think I missed? What other tests do you think I should have given to this thing? Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon on the way out. I'm on a mission to help everybody enjoy woodworking, no matter your budget or your shop size. Until the next one, always remember to enjoy the build. Thanks for watching.